Hey, my name is Rebecca, and I own a private tutoring company. In our private tutoring company, I have about 22 active teaching contractors that work for me, and I also have an assistant as well. More importantly, I am a wife and a mother, and so this video is actually going to be uniquely focused on the motherhood side and how to manage a business as a mom. So, my girls are the ages right now of 1, 3, and 4. Although my 4-year-old's almost 5, slash, she thinks she's going on 16, but that's a whole other conversation. That being said, we launched this business. It's not been in the works for a while, but we're still kind of in our first year of really having people on staff and growing and going up from there. So I get asked a lot, how on earth do I manage it all? And these are just kind of a couple things that work for me. It doesn't mean that it'll work for you, but just kind of a realistic little scope of my day in the life and how I get it all done. So what used to happen is when we first moved back to the area, I worked part-time at my daughter's preschool. And they went to preschool and daycare there, and then my girls would stay, and then I would tutor after because I would be done early, and then I would go tutor kids in the after school block late at night, weekends. It was getting painful. So what we ended up doing is, if you do the math, 3 kids in childcare is extremely expensive. A nanny is also extremely expensive, but a nanny has been a game changer. So kind of what works for our family right now is we have a nanny 4 days a week. She comes 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. She is a superwoman. She does my dishes, she does my laundry, she does some light housekeeping, and my girls absolutely love her. She also gets the girls to preschool as well. What my role is I pay her, I coordinate with her and I tag team a lot. For example, today, she's running some errands for me because in real life, one of my children is constipated, so we're dealing with that issue right now, and she's keeping me updated in how I can best help and facilitate her. But how this kind of works in our life is I get up fairly early. I've been trying actively to go on a walk for a morning because my head feels clearer. I typically work into podcasts, business development. I'm trying to learn during that walk. Then I clean up from the night before my girls get up. I pack their lunches when they go to preschool, which is 3 days a week. And then I try to chat with my husband. So my husband is my behind the scenes guy. He is an awesome tech developer. So he helps me with coding software and also just trying to streamline and automate my business end. So right now he's doing a big website update. And even more importantly, he's trying to streamline my invoicing end, which takes me currently hours and hours and hours each week to do. And so we try to meet, we try to chat. I also talk to him what's going on in the business if possible, and then he gives me typically really sound advice. Then my husband has a 7:30 a.m. meeting. So the girls typically wake up around 7ish, at least the 2 big ones. We try to get them dressed and get them started with breakfast, and then my husband goes into this meeting. And then from 7:30 to 8 a.m., I'm at least getting up the baby, making sure the girls are fed, trying to get whatever we can get done to get out the door. And at this time, I'm trying to feed myself and then get my stuff ready to go as well. One pro tip I have learned is if I am not dressed and ready before they are up, I am scrambling. If for some crazy reason they are up at 6 a.m., which we try to avoid and try to encourage them to go back to sleep. Worst case scenario, I let them watch a show for a little bit as a survival tactic. I don't love screen time in the morning, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So around 8 a.m. is when my nanny comes. I pass off any information to her, help her with any situations, and go from there. And she kind of does the tail end of cleaning up, getting the big girls to school, and then my 1-year-old also stays with her, and they typically go to the park. And then for any extracurriculars, it's normally when I'm still working, because right now we're working on growth, and of course I'm busiest during the extracurricular time, which is like 4 p.m. And so it's either my mom or the nanny that takes the girls to dance and gymnastics. And then my nanny's day ends at 5 p.m. And like I said, game changer. She's a rock star. I typically get home at 6 p.m. So I am very blessed with a husband who enjoys cooking. I can cook, I just don't love it. I take care of a lot of the breakfasts, that planning, lunches, all that stuff for the girls, and he typically does the dinner. So on a normal night, he is getting dinner ready at 5 p.m. The girls are normally playing outside. Occasionally they get a show. And then by 6 p.m., I try to be home. Some days I'm putting out fires, which is not ideal. And then we eat dinner together as a family, hang out as a family. If it's on a Wednesday night, my girls go to Awana's. So it just kind of depends on there. And we try to get everybody down by 8 p.m. at night. So it just varies. That's normally our target. And then it depends on each night. So 8 p.m., we typically hope to be done with all of our stuff so that my husband can chill. It doesn't always work out that way. But we are trying to streamline and automate things. And that's normally my schedule Monday through Thursday. Fridays are kind of my wild card. I typically only have my nanny to wait extra on Fridays, like every other Friday. And then my mom and my mother-in-law covered for a couple hours. I'm working on streamlining just some situations, because what gets me in trouble on those Fridays is there's still a ton of emails I need to catch up with. I have 3 young kids, so you can imagine like me opening up my laptop even while they play. I typically have a 1-year-old hitting my laptop, which is very productive. And so for me, I am actually currently troubleshooting how to manage my Fridays better. And then I've hold a very strict line where in the beginning of the semester, if you're in the tutoring space, a lot of families want to tutor. Typically on Sunday afternoons is a very popular time slot. I have personally blocked those all out. Those are our family day. Sometimes I have to answer questions from some of my teachers, but besides that, Sunday is our family day. And then on Saturdays, I set 1, max 2 Saturdays a month that I work for a 3-hour block. And during that 3-hour block, I normally just teach classes, because classes are typically a higher revenue for me. And then I try to schedule it during nap time and go from there. So for me, I try to get as much work as humanly possible done Monday through Thursday. It doesn't always work out that way. And then the weekends, I try to keep protected as much as possible. It is really easy. I have a big issue with this of work and life blending all together, especially when your husband is your business partner. Now, full disclaimer, my husband has a full-time job, so he does contribute a good bit, but I'm in the day-to-day, but he knows kind of in the back ends in the major stuff that's going on. But we've been working really hard to try to start separating our time to better protect for my family. And then other examples, like my girls know what I do. Most of my team knows my girls. My nanny will sometimes bring the baby around, or for example, on Fridays, one of my teachers does a cute little homeschool arts and crafts class. My 4-year-old, who thinks she's 16, tags along. So we try to keep the girls involved in as much as possible. In our ribbon cutting, our girls were involved. So we want this to be like more of a family business. And we are trying to figure out how we can best use it to serve our family. And then right now I'm in a stage of where I am needing to cut back on my teaching time. So my goal is actually to start leaving by 4:30 or ideally 4 p.m. Since I get in so early and I work some long days and sometimes I'm having to do admin work at night, we are trying to troubleshoot. But that's kind of how my life looks right now. It's probably going to change substantially. My oldest goes to kindergarten next year, which is wild and exciting at the same time. That's my kind of day in the life, how I squeeze in everything. Now, let's say you have young kids and you want to juggle. Some things that have worked in the past for me that I don't actively do now is me and my husband hands down tag team. So if I need a tutor when there's no sitter, there's no nanny, I try to do it during nap time, because not all my kids nap, but at least 1 to 2 typically do. So it's a little bit lighter on him. Or if I need to do a night class, I typically try to rope in a grandparent. So we just try to figure out what's going to be the best for our family. And we are honestly still troubleshooting. There's no secret sauce. I'm always, interested in learning new strategies and techniques. I'm working on automating things. I'm working on getting help with my customer service and inquiries so that I can grow better and also be more present at work instead of deep in my emails, and also better support for my team. But as a little bit of summary, like I said, I have 3 kids under the age of 5. It looks different at every season. And so we're trying to figure out how my role can still grow, but it doesn't mean that it's going to grow in time. But my role to grow will be hiring the best people to be compensated well, but also bring in their insight and their growth and their assistance to, make either a good part-time job for them or kind of give a creative outlook or little outlets. But anyway, happy if you have any suggestions, that if you are a business owner that has worked for you, especially as a mom, it's a little bit of a different hat than if I was a male business owner. And I look forward to hearing from you.